Hello, we are interrupting your regularly scheduled V-Rising videos to bring you PlateUp. It's PlateUp's second birthday, and they have graciously given us another free update, and as part of Steam's Tiny Teams event, they are also on sale. This is not sponsored or anything. I wish I was sponsored by PlateUp, but for now I'll have to settle for shilling this perfect little game for free. By the way, I'm Savalian. I make videos about games, development, and creativity. And for this video, I'm going to focus on the new update, but I have many PlateUp videos on this channel because I love it. So if you're curious about like the basics of PlateUp or some of the past updates, you can check out some of those other videos. To cover it briefly, PlateUp is a restaurant roguelite where you can reorganize the furniture and appliances to optimize your gameplay. And if even one customer loses patience, you lose the run and you have to start over. In a normal game, you get a card, you get a choice of a card every 3 days, which will complicate your run in some way. And a big part of the game is deciding which of the two cards is going to be better for the run that you're doing. Today, I'm actually going to do a turbo run because I need the challenge to feel alive. And we're going to play the new main dish that was added in the update, tacos. Turbo mode is designed to play faster and be quite a bit harder, so you get a new card every day, more customers, but you do get a discount and more shop items. The new main dish, tacos, are really neat because they introduce some new ways to sort of manage the food in PlateUp. So tacos do not need plates, which is unusual for a main dish. I guess cakes technically are a main dish, but they're also a dessert, which is an interesting distinction. But tacos don't need a plate. Instead, you put them on a taco tray, which is this big like zigzag tray with 4 slots in it. So you can put 4 tacos on this tray. You put the tortilla on first, and then you cook up some ground beef, or as the English say, mince, and you put that on. And then there are several taco toppings that you can unlock as cards. So by default, you just have the beef. And actually in this run, I only have the beef all the way through because I just didn't get any of the topping cards. But in my previous run tonight that I did on stream, I got lettuce, onions, and then in a failed turbo run, which technically this one's not like a win, but it was less of a failure than the other one, I got tomato. And tomato makes things interesting because you can't automate chopping a tomato. The mixers in the game they'll just keep going and make tomato sauce. So you actually can't automate the tomatoes. Actually, I've just got an idea. I'm gonna have to try it out later. There might be one way you can automate sliced tomatoes, and I'm gonna see if I can do it. But essentially, you can only put a topping on the entire tray of tacos at once, so you can't like top each individual taco. But if you have 2 partial trays of tacos, you can merge them together as long as they have the same toppings. So if I have 2 tacos on one tray and 2 on another, and they both just have lettuce, I can merge those. But if one of them has lettuce, I would have to put lettuce on the one that doesn't have it first. Which is a strategy I use sometimes to just sort of merge things up. And also because you only get 4 trays with the one like taco tray stand. Unless you buy a second tray set, you only have 4 different types of tacos at one time. As you add more toppings, as you get up to 3 toppings, this starts to become a problem. So managing your tacos is part of the game. It's part of the trick on this one. You can also add toppings to the tray even if it's only a partial tray. So for example, if I serve 2 regular tacos and then I get an order for tacos with onions, I can just add onions to the remaining 2 tacos and serve those. And since I just have meat on this run, it's really just about seeing how quickly I can make these tacos. I don't need to check the orders to see what toppings they want or do any side dishes or anything like that. In retrospect, maybe I would have gotten further if I took some side dishes, but hindsight is 2020, as they say. And in order to serve the tacos, this is another interesting thing from the update. You can just put the entire tray on the table and the customers will take the number of tacos that they want. And this is interesting because all the other main dishes you would have to portion out yourself and give them to the customers in the correct amount, usually on a plate. Not always. But because they've added this feature, they've also extended this to some of the other foods. So basically now, any food that can be portioned by a customer as long as they don't need a plate. So this includes soup, this includes cake. I wasn't able to think of any other ones off the top of my head, but this is really handy. It means that instead of portioning up the soup, carrying each soup bowl to the table one by one, you can just drop the entire pot down, they'll take what they need, and then you can take the pot back. One thing to be extremely careful about, that luckily did not get me, but could easily get somebody, is that you do need to keep track of how many portions of soup you have left. If you take an order and they want 2 soups, but you only have 1 portion left in the pot, you're gonna have to make that second portion pronto, because otherwise you're gonna lose, because the timer starts ticking down much faster once you serve one of the people at the table. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you have enough soup, and if you don't, you might want to portion it manually and then make more before serving. You can also drop, I think, entire sponge cakes on the table, which I'm very excited to play with this feature and see if I can make a bakery run where I just have like a big conveyor belt with different kinds of sponge cake on it. I haven't tested if they could portion things out from a conveyor belt, but I'm excited to see if that works. But so far the soup feels a lot cleaner doing it this way than portioning. It feels much snappier. There are also some nice quality of life updates, some things that PlateUp fans have been asking for basically since the first week it was released. And I believe there are mods for some of these things that we will now not need mods for, which I personally don't really like using mods, so I'm very happy. The first I kind of breezed by when I started the game, but now, once you reach a certain level, you can simply select the main dish you want from a cabinet in the home office. I love this so much. Before this update, if you wanted a specific main dish, you either needed a mod or you had to go into the tutorial and leave, which randomly re-rolls the main dishes just over and over again until you got the one you want. And it's gotten more cumbersome as they've added more and more main dishes. So this is really nice. I like this. I was able to get into the tacos immediately. I didn't have to re-roll, go into the tutorial, leave the tutorial again and again. I could just pick the one I want. The second really nice quality of life change is for the automation lovers like me, and that is crane mode, or I think it's officially called advanced building mode. By holding down the ping button, which I don't think I've ever pinged anything on purpose in PlateUp. I do it by accident all the time. But if you hold it down when you're in like the shop phase, you can transform into a crane and no longer be bound by the collision of the restaurant. So if you have a room full of like conveyor belts and prep stations and grabbers and combiners and this and that, you no longer have to carefully scoot all of those pieces out if you need to change something in the back corner. You can just do it with the crane. And you can also use the crane to do other things like adjust the chairs at the tables, re-roll your blueprints, a lot of handy things that were kind of annoying to do when you had to do them on foot. It makes the gameplay so much smoother, and it also gives you a little bit more freedom, because I know like sometimes if people wanted to optimize things a little bit more, but that it was very complicated already, they weren't willing to put in the effort to like make their way into the back the way you would have had to do it before. And that's all the main stuff. You can read the patch notes. I think it's on PlateUp's website. You can get there from the Steam news page. Again, I'll mention it's on sale. Well, it's my favorite game. I would recommend it. But for now, we're just gonna finish up by watching the rest of my turbo run. And as I mentioned, I didn't get any toppings for my tacos in this one. And I also didn't really get very good cards for turbo mode either, but I got decently far given the circumstances. A lot of my early cards gave me the option between a side dish and something else, and the side dishes just sounded too complicated because you have to then like sort of pay attention to the orders. You have to deliver those side dishes separately, and it just interrupts the flow of like making as many tacos as I can. You know, looking back, maybe I should have taken a side dish or two to get the customer reduction, but here we are. So what I did take was Sedate Atmosphere, Photographic Memory, and Splash Zone, all cards that affect like sort of how the customers work. So no customer reductions at all in the first 3 days. I did get a copier desk fairly quickly, which is one of my favorite tools. I use this for automation in almost every run. But I didn't actually get any of the pieces I needed to start doing the automation that I would need to copy. So maybe I should have done some more rolling earlier in this run. I know I did a bit of rolling, so I you know, maybe just an unlucky seed. For tacos automation, you really want at least one mixer, probably a couple of mixers. A safety hob for cooking the meat can be really nice. A bunch of grabbers to move things around. And then I think, I didn't do this myself, but I think a combiner to load up the tortillas could be really nice, because then you just gotta pick them up and plop them down to put the toppings on. But there's a lot of different things you can do to automate the tacos, and I've explored some of them, but not all of them. Mostly in my longer normal mode run, I was able to play with the automation a bit more. And I think I forgot to mention, each customer, I think, can order 2 or 3 tacos. I think that's the range. So if you happen to get a 2-person group, you may need up to 6 tacos to feed them both, which is more than one tray, obviously. So you start needing to make a lot of tacos very quickly, and also if you have toppings, you have to assess very quickly like which kinds of which tacos you need and how many, and it's fun. It adds a really interesting it adds a really interesting layer of the game, which is thinking about your foods in like groups. So it's like if they took the oysters and they just made them a little bit more complicated. My next card after the decoration round was carrot soup, and I took it since it was better than advertising, but this was the beginning of the end. I maintain that soup is a turbo run killer. I have never been able to make the soup fast enough in turbo mode. The 15% customer reduction doesn't do much when you don't have any other reductions stacking up. Carrot soup is better than like tomato soup or pumpkin soup, but it is still a starter, which means that every single table will order at least one portion of carrot soup, and that's a lot. And I didn't have a danger hob to make it cook faster. I would recommend, if you think you might have to grab soup in a turbo run, which I feel like usually, you know, it's the only option eventually. You can ignore the soup for a while, but you'll have to take it at some point. So I would recommend getting a danger hob and keeping it in the back somewhere, so that you have it when you need it. Because soup can't burn, so you can cook it really quickly on the danger hob. And if you're feeling real crazy, you could probably get a gas override in there, especially for that first soup pot, which takes longer to cook up than the secondary ones. So I tried very hard to sling these tacos as quickly as I could, but I did die on carrot soup. I think it was a good run though, and I'm very pleased with the update as a whole. I think it doesn't pack as much of a punch as the bakery update from last year's PlateUp birthday update, but honestly that update was so good it would be really hard to top it. I'm very excited about the tacos, and I love how, you know, the PlateUp updates usually introduce some sort of new mechanic that not just, it doesn't just add something to the new features, but it affects the older features as well. And I always think that's really interesting. But good job, PlateUp dev team. I'm loving this. Very excited to see what else comes out. And I'm always like surprised. I guess I'm not surprised anymore, but like all these updates are free, and I kind of feel like I want to kick something back to the developers, but I'm hoping that, you know, they've got their business under control. They've got enough money to, you know, keep working. And I'm excited to see what they do next. So this was a look at PlateUp's fully loaded second anniversary taco update. Kind of a mouthful. But please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the update or about PlateUp. I'm going to be playing a lot more this weekend, so I might just have an answer for you. Or if you want to, a fun little comment question, let me know what foods you would like to see in PlateUp. There are a lot of options. Before this update, I was actually just thinking of how it might be fun to have burritos in PlateUp. I feel like they might be kind of hard to portray visually because they're closed, but you know, tacos are a good second option. But that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you have a moment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, because I'll be back soon with another video, probably my next solo V-Rising Brutal video, and I hope to see you there. Bye bye.